Right. So one thing I think a lot about with human history, I'm really, really passionate about kind of human evolution from basically the time that uh, humans were part of like the ape community, and we were chimpanzees, and then we split off from chimpanzees 7 million years ago. So I'm really interested in what's happened to humans starting at 7 million years ago up until today.
Hmm.
If you kind of look at change through all of that time, the graph would look like a hockey stick. So
Hmm.
it's like in the recent, you can definitely start in the last 10,000 years. Change and progress has happened so fast.
Hmm.
But so 10,000 years ago is definitely a time where progress really happened. And then another one was like in the year 1750 or 1800, where like coal was discovered, and then like modern science really began to flourish.
Yeah.
And that's like the third tier of the hockey stick, where progress is now exponentially increasing, and it's really, really interesting because if you go to human lives prior to 10,000 years ago, which that marker is the agricultural revolution
Hmm.
that began in different parts of the world, but most people talk about the Fertile Crescent,
Hmm.
which is in modern day Iraq.
Hmm.
And agriculture just kind of started there. But also, it started in different civilizations like the Indus Valley in India, the Yellow River in China. But that's if you go before that time, before agriculture started, human life, like your mundane like routine in life, would have been very similar
Hmm.
to humans 100,000 years ago, 200,000 years ago, 500,000 to a million, 2 million. And so the kind of kind of like I think our brain chemistry, it, even though we live in cities and we feel very civilized, and a lot of our brain chemistry and our actions and behaviors are derived from when we were living in the savannah or living in the forest with a group of 150 people that you're related with, and that your identity as like we is only with those 150 people, and the rest of like animals and other groups of people, you wouldn't even see them as people. You would just see like your group as people, but
Hmm.
you would see them as like enemy.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
think because that lasted for so long, it's really that idea of us versus them and boundaries and me and my group. It's really, really deep seated in our brain chemistry,
Hmm.
and I think it would take an extreme amount of effort to go forward.
Yeah. So the exponential nature of the rate of change now, how should we approach this as
Mm.
people? Is this something that we like should be concerned about primarily?
Yeah, so I would say progress is not inherently good nor inherently bad.
Hmm.
It's kind of a reality. But the idea of like how should we look at this human progress is from the negative side. I think what's really one of the main things is climate change,
Hmm.
for sure. Is That's one of the main um, problems or challenges that, well, we as humans are going to be facing, and it's kind of started 50 years ago, and now it's really going to become a problem in the next 50 to 100 years.
Hmm.
And I think that's going to be maybe one of the number one topics that scientists and politicians will be talking about in the future. So I'd say that's probably the main negative. Another main negative is nuclear weapons and the potential for a nuclear wipeout
Hmm.
of, I don't even know, could that be 100% of humans or 90%? And I think that's a big potential. But I think that climate change is more of a potential danger because it's very systemic, and it's gonna rule our entire lives as humans, especially like our agriculture and our natural resources and where we're going to live and things like that.
Hmm.
So I would say that's probably the main negative. The main positive with all of this globalization that's happening is the possibility and potential to communicate with anybody across the world and
Hmm.
create like internet communities. And you have something extremely in common with, maybe you're living in Minnesota and you have something in extreme common with someone in China, and you create maybe an online business or community, a group along this really specific idea, and that part of life is very exciting for me, and that's one of the reasons I started the YouTube channel, Library of Humanity, and I'm sure that might be an idea
Yeah.
for
So
you, for the Idealect